Okay, everybody. Happy Wednesday afternoon. So, a lot of good stuff I've been finding again every day. A lot of stuff coming out. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. All right. How's it going? Yep, no problem. Yep, I was the chosen one. 5, almost 6 years now. I accomplished everything what I wanted, and still moving. Got over 1 million views and got the channel back. If it wasn't for Trump, I'll be stuck on the backup channels. I'm hoping everybody back signs up to the backup channels. Get everybody over here to the other ones. We'll have 2 shows. We'll probably 1 to 4, and then we'll go 6 to 9 or something tonight. My game's on at 9 o'clock, so it's a wet one here. I got Telegram connected, all ready to go. I'll go at the 5 minute mark. Hopefully, my connection will be good today. We got a lot of people at work this time of the day. So far, we got our eyes on there. I think Kay will be in here shortly. Oh, Carol. I don't know what happened to Ann. No, Ann Hummer. Hope she's comes back, but I guess she wants to step away. Okie doke. I got about 4 funny ones I want to play on the birds. Kay has a parrot, those green parrot birds. So I want to play some of those. Hopefully she'll be getting in here. Dang it.
Because it just arrested my heart.
That's not how arrests work.
Then explain why I'm already guilty.
You know I can give tickets, right?
And give me one for falling too fast.
Falling for what exactly?
For the officer in front of me.
This is my dinner.
Perfect timing. My heart was hungry.
For food?
For company.
You're close to being arrested.
I sense danger.
From where?
Your smile hit my heart.
The radio isn't working.
Funny, because my heart got full signal.
You're impossible.
Yet you're still listening.
Why are you staring?
Okay, that's the first one.
Now, give me the crack.
Excuse me? That is illegal. You are under arrest.
I said a cracker. A salty snack. God, you're a crazy lady. Careful, lady. I'm packing a massive pepper right there.
You gross! That is it! You are going to jail!
I'm in my beak. I am a bird, you idiot. Shame on you, dirty mind.
No.
I didn't do it. I'm an innocent bird.
Stop lying, Taco. I saw you steal it. You are busted.
I'm busted. Honey, look at those poor buttons screaming for help. You are the one who is busted.
Oh no!
Whoa! I'm good!
Back up, Taco. Take those giant fun bags out of my face.
Excuse me? You are a disgusting rude bird.
The toy bags for the kids. God, you have a filthy mind, lady. Hey, beautiful. I need some crack right now. Give me the crack.
Excuse me? That is illegal.
Your documents.
Show you? I don't take orders from walking refrigerators.
Excuse me?
You're excused from the gym. Your wife fired you as a husband. Your belly jiggle? The whole airport can see it. Oh, yeah.
Parrot, present your defense.
Defense? Your Honor, I'm here to expose the truth and your last ruling.
Stick to the facts.
That haircut not helping your authority. Officer, please ask Facebook people not to scroll past me.
What is breaking your heart?
They see me every day but never like or share.
That means you need people to stand with you.
Yes, I only need likes and shares.
We'll do that, promise.
Get down from there. You're trespassing on private property.
Supposed to be private? You're messing with a parrot, you badge-wearing clown. This fence is free access.
Watch your attitude, sir. Parrot.
I know the law, buddy. I have property rights.
He's going to quote the Constitution next.
Officer, why are you...
Okay, I got 2 more, you guys.
toy, Larry. It's a nightstick, and I know how to use it.
A nightstick? I've got a bigger stick in my pants right now. Do you know how to use my stick? Go on, I won't teach you.
Oh, Larry!
Be careful down there. That's my favorite part.
I'm just checking the bone. It feels extremely stiff and hard today.
Stiff and hard? That's what happens when a pretty girl touches it.
Oh, Larry!
I'm not gonna tell you again, Bird. You screech one more time in here and you're out.
Oh, shut your crusty mouth, motherfucker. I run the station. You just polish my perch. Hey, officer, file a complaint.
File it against who?
A motherfucker ate my donuts.
Watch your mouth, Bird. I'm not filing a complaint about pastries.
All right, then arrest yourself for negligence, donut neglect.
That's it. I'm done.
Hey, nurse, you're looking so damn hot today. I really would love to kiss your beautiful lips.
You would?
Yeah, the ones on your face, too.
Oh my gosh.
You're terrible.
Terribly honest.
Stop. You're making me blush.
All right, Larry, spell red.
L-S-T-E-R.
L-S-T-E-R?
Yep.
Okay, what color is a carrot?
I think it's green. Hey, beautiful.
Okay, one more.
Officer, watch your belt first. It's about to surrender. Officer, why were you shouting last night?
I wasn't home last night.
Oh, really? Then who was your wife talking to when she said the newborn looks just like him?
I'll come back.
1, 2, 3 and a half.
911, what's your emergency?
What the fuck is this? I ordered 2 hours ago and still haven't received it yet. Where's my food?
This isn't McDonald's, you feathery dumbass. This is the police station.
Who's there?
Is the police? Open the door.
For what?
We want to talk.
How many are there?
We're 2.
Then talk to each other.
You yelled at another driver?
He started it with his ugly bumper.
That's not how traffic works.
Then tell him to get a new face.
You think you're funny, Bird? You better.
Okay. Thought I played about five clips there of the bird parrots for Kay and whoever likes the birds, parrots and stuff. So I'll go ahead and get into the intel now. Hey, Mike, be along. David, tell again, 2 shows. Okay, the first one is 6 minutes.
In September of 2020 for being a whistleblower. I was working on Pfizer's phase 3 pivotal trial on their COVID-19 vaccine.
I better not play that one. Okay, we'll get this one started. Okay. Four minutes.
Whoopi wants to point out that just because you're mentioned in those files doesn't mean you're a bad person, which, the president said too. She's attacked him over and over and over again for being in the files. Now, the reason he's mostly in the files is because Epstein's complaining about him or joking about him. I mean, he was the president, right? And Epstein was really into politics. So he'd message his friends back and forth about him, but he was not implicated in anything and never went to the island. I mean, he's no Bill Clinton, for goodness sakes. Or they get all kinds of pictures. I digress. We're going to get to Hillary in just a little bit because it was pretty funny. The BBC asked her about it and she was forced into having to explain what all that was. And I want to show you that tape. But first, Whoopi Goldberg saying, I didn't do anything wrong. She might want to rethink going after Trump so many times on the Epstein stuff, right? Here, take a look.
Now, in the name of transparency, can you put up
my name is in the files. Yes. And what does it say? It says, Whoopi needs a plane to get to Monaco. John Lennon's charity, it should say Julian Lennon's charity, is paying for it. They don't want to charter, so they're looking for private owners. Here's the info. And they give all the information, and they're saying, do you want to offer your G2? Okay.
And it looks like they said no thanks.
Yeah.
So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well, this is my point, because I'm telling you, when I tell you people are trying to turn me into, I wasn't his girlfriend. I wasn't his friend.
You were too old for him.
I was not only too old, but it was at a time, where this is just not, you used to have facts before you said stuff.
But Trump is on the list 38,000 times.
Well,
there's a certain irony in that, right? Here, Whoopi Goldberg is saying you used to have facts before you say stuff. You've heard everything I've played you on this show, right? Over the years of what she said that's just blatantly false, blatantly misleading, just ridiculous. It's really shameful. The FCC does need to look at this show. I mean, forget Colbert. He's going to be off the air soon enough. I think, Brandon, you need to focus on this show. I know you have in the past. I know there's an investigation. I stand corrected. He is doing an investigation as we speak into this show in particular. But I think it's rather precious that Whoopi Goldberg is like, you used to have facts.
I can't speak to him, but I'm speaking about me because I'm getting dragged. People actually believe that I was with him. It's like, honey, come on. Every man that I've ever been with, you've known about him because either the Inquirer wrote it about it. Yeah. Your people wrote about this stuff. So no, I never had this, and no, I didn't get on the plane because you know what I would have to do to get on the plane? Fly. They were trying to,
and she doesn't fly.
No, so they're trying
She's
to get me.
Babe.
They're trying to get me to get on a plane to get to this thing for Julian Lennon.
Yeah, but the thing is, they dropped like 300 names.
Yes.
And it's like flood the zone because when you're looking, there are people like Marilyn Monroe who is dead.
Elvis.
Yeah, a lot of people, because a lot of the reasons your name can be mentioned are news articles, third-party emails, contacts. Again, wealthy, famous people often cross in professional and social circles. So that's not the surprising part.
Our thanks to Newsbusters for putting that one out. Yeah. Whoopi, it doesn't feel so good, huh? When people just make up stories about you. That's not any fun now, is it? Maybe you should think about that. You should remember that and not make up so many stories about the people that you don't like.
Okay, that's the first one of Trisha. I got one first. Nick, let's get Nick in. His first one. No. I can't play this. I got to come back to that one. This one's 3 minutes.
Very, very simple. And I'm going to put it to you just straight up, real easy, real quick. All right. You became a taxpayer when you signed your first 1040 form. You signed that form under the pains and penalties of perjury by voluntary compliance. You have to volunteer for that crap. There's nothing that says you have to be a taxpayer. There's no law. There's no statute. There's no code. They can't come after you for it. And when you do your revocation of election, don't you dare file your taxes after that. You've defeated the whole purpose. Let me tell you something. It's all fraud. It says Federal Reserve note. Federal Reserve note. You see the note? Everything you get, this is what we get paid in. Everything you get is a Federal Reserve note. A 1, a 5, a 10, a 20, a 50, a 100. Everything's a note. What is a Federal Reserve note? It's a debt or a debenture. You're already being paid a wage in a debt. You're a debtor. How does one pay a tax on a debt? Every time I ask the IRS that question, they run like hell. I asked them questions. I said, is the money that we're getting paid in, the Federal Reserve notes, are they a debt or a debenture? Yes or no? Well, is it a debt or a debenture? Yes or no? I'll ask them 3 times if I have to. Remember the rule of 3, always. Remember the rule of 3. So this is a debt note. Can you pay a tax on a debt note? No. That's why it's by voluntary compliance and they can't force you to.
Okay, anybody see that one? Okay, let's play this lady. $14.
Medical bills piled up. Maybe you missed a notice in the mail. And then the county sold your debt to an investor. That investor added fees, added interest. And when you couldn't catch up fast enough, they took your house, your $150,000 house. For a $1,000 debt, you got nothing. The investor got everything. This practice has a name. It's called home equity theft. The United States Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional in 2023. Every state in America has changed their laws to comply with that ruling. Every state except one, Illinois. I'm Clara Monroe. And if this is your first time here, welcome.
I think it's the
Stick
24th,
around, hit
right?
subscribe,
Like
and let's get into
24th?
it. Let's walk through exactly what happens when someone falls behind on property taxes in Illinois. Property taxes fund local services, schools, fire departments, road repairs, parks. When homeowners fall behind, counties need mechanisms to recover that revenue. Illinois chose a particular mechanism. Counties auction delinquent tax debts to private investors. Here's the sequence. You owe $4,000 in unpaid taxes. The county sells that debt to a tax buyer at public auction. The investor pays the county directly. Your obligation now belongs to them.
Yeah.
Interest begins accumulating immediately, up to 18% every 6 months under Illinois law. Legal fees attach. Administrative costs multiply. You have roughly 30 months to settle the total balance. Miss that window, and the investor petitions the court for your deed. The transaction is complete. They own your property. You receive zero compensation for whatever equity you accumulated. A family that spent 20 years building $100,000 in home value can lose everything over a $5,000 tax debt. The investor captures the difference as profit. Cook County processes thousands of these transactions annually. Between 2019 and 2025, over 1,000 families lost homes through tax sales. 125 were senior citizens. Combined property values exceeded $108 million.
Nice.
Not a single family received compensation for lost equity. When the county prepared its May 2022 auction, 37,000 properties appeared on the list. 54% carried debts below $1,000. People forfeiting generational wealth over amounts smaller than a mortgage payment. Geraldine Tyler changed everything. The Minnesota grandmother owed $2,300 on her condo. Penalties and interest inflated the balance to $15,000. Hennepin County seized the property, sold it for $40,000, and retained every dollar. Tyler sued. The case reached the Supreme Court. In 2023, all 9 justices agreed. The practice violates the Fifth Amendment. Government cannot confiscate property value beyond what's legitimately owed. Taking $40,000 to satisfy $15,000 constitutes theft, not tax collection. The decision sent shockwaves through a dozen states operating similar systems. Minnesota reformed immediately. Nebraska followed. New York rewrote statutes. Every affected jurisdiction aligned with constitutional requirements, except Illinois. Federal courts have now ruled directly on local practices. Michelle Kidd owned a home in Maywood. Tax debt accumulated. An investor acquired her property. She received nothing for the equity she'd built. Kidd filed suit against Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas. Other homeowners joined. Community organizations added their names. The case expanded into a class action representing roughly 2,500 families. In December 2025, U.S. District Judge Matthew Kennelly delivered his ruling. Cook County's procedures violate the Fifth Amendment's compensation requirements and the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on excessive fines. County attorneys argued they merely followed state statute. The judge dismissed that defense as absurd. Nothing in Illinois law compels counties to strip homeowners of equity. Officials chose this approach voluntarily. The constitutional violation stands. Liability questions remain unresolved. Damages could reach $150 million if courts order compensation at average equity loss rates. Pappas filed an appeal in January. The fundamental finding remains intact while litigation continues. Springfield has known about this problem for years. The Tyler decision came down in 2023. Legislators introduced reform bills, committees held hearings, housing advocates testified, county officials requested guidance. Nothing passed. Tax buyers maintain powerful lobbying operations. Their business model depends on capturing surplus equity. Reform threatens profitability. Senator Selena Villanueva introduced SB 3940 in February 2026. The bill mandates that counties auction properties and distribute remaining proceeds to original owners after satisfying debts. Constitutional compliance through straightforward procedure. The legislative session has barely begun. Meanwhile, Cook County's next tax sale looms on March 25th, 2026. Notification deadlines require action by late February. Without legislative intervention, the county must choose between proceeding under rules federal courts have invalidated or delaying collection indefinitely. Individual tragedies cascade into community-wide damage. Investors acquiring properties through tax sales rarely prioritize neighborhood stability. Some pursue quick flips. Others hold vacant while strategizing. Many initiate eviction proceedings against remaining occupants. Vacancy rates climb, adjacent property values decline, municipal tax bases shrink, undermining the revenue collection that supposedly justified the system. Displaced families don't vanish. They crowd into relatives' homes. They strain homeless services. They withdraw children from schools mid-year. Social infrastructure absorbs costs that ripple for decades. Cook County's property tax burden ranks among the nation's heaviest. Recent bills jumped 16% on average. Certain Southside neighborhoods experienced increases exceeding 100%. Crushing assessments push more families into delinquency. The auction pipeline swells, equity extraction accelerates. Each cycle compounds the damage from the previous one.
This is the most anticipated smart security camera of the year. No internet connection needed. No wiring or
Losses concentrate among those least equipped to fight back. Lower-income homeowners lack resources for legal representation. Elderly residents struggle navigating bureaucratic complexity. Communities of color face systemic barriers accessing assistance programs. Notification procedures often fail to convey urgency. Documents arrive in legal jargon. Deadlines pass before implications register. By the time families recognize the threat, redemption windows have closed. Fixed-income seniors face particular exposure. Assessments that seemed manageable at retirement become overwhelming as values rise and pensions stagnate. Those 125 elderly homeowners represent more than statistics. They embody decades of labor converted to nothing, inheritances erased, retirement security demolished over bills they might have eventually resolved. Advocates for the existing system raise legitimate points. Revenue collection matters. Schools need funding. Emergency services require resources. When some owners avoid obligations, compliant taxpayers shoulder heavier burdens. The 30-month redemption window provides substantial opportunity. Families have over 2 years to arrange payment. Various assistance programs exist. Those who exhaust every option arguably received fair process. Tax buyers deliver immediate liquidity. Counties obtain owed revenue without waiting years for delinquent owners. Services continue uninterrupted. Decades of transactions occurred under these rules. Property markets developed around existing procedures. Retroactive changes create uncertainty that affects current investments. These considerations deserve acknowledgement. They don't override constitutional requirements. The Supreme Court established clear boundaries. Efficiency arguments cannot justify fundamental rights violations. Some Illinois counties aren't waiting for Springfield. Rock Island County modified their December 2025 sale. Tax buyers signed waivers accepting personal liability for surplus equity claims. If an original owner later sues for compensation, the investor pays, not the county. Participation remained steady. Bidding actually intensified. Buyers still find the market attractive. They simply cannot bank on windfall equity captures. White County adopted identical provisions for their January 2026 auction. Purchasers acknowledge responsibility for distributing surplus if they ultimately obtain deeds. These represent stopgap measures rather than systemic reform. Underlying statutes remain unchanged. But creative counties are shielding themselves from constitutional exposure while awaiting legislative action. Cook County continues operating under original procedures. Their March sale proceeds without similar protections unless Springfield intervenes. 2 paths forward exist. The differences are stark. Path 1, reform passes. Delinquent owners still face consequences. Debt still transferred to investors. Interest still accumulates. Properties still reach auction if redemption fails. The critical change, auctions produce fair market prices. After satisfying outstanding obligations, surplus proceeds flow to original owners. A $100,000 home covering a $10,000 debt generates $90,000 for the displaced family. Loss remains painful. Total devastation becomes unnecessary. Tax buyers retain viable business models. Interest earnings during redemption periods continue. Competitive bidding at auctions remains profitable. Windfall equity captures simply end. Counties collect owed revenue. Constitutional compliance eliminates litigation exposure. Services continue without interruption. Path 2, status quo persists. Every certificate sold expands potential liability. Federal rulings establish constitutional violations. Class actions proceed through courts. Eventual judgments could mandate compensation for past victims. The Kidd lawsuit alone encompasses 2,500 claimants. Average equity losses around $60,000 suggest exposure exceeding $150 million. Taxpayers ultimately fund those judgments. The same residents the system purportedly serves bear costs of its unconstitutional operation. Meanwhile, families continue losing everything. Communities continue deteriorating. Investors continue extracting wealth from vulnerable populations. March 25th, 2026 approaches rapidly. Cook County must notify property owners 30 days before auction. Certified mailings to tens of thousands of addresses cost approximately $190,000. Legal publication requirements add further expense. Proceeding under current rules means every transaction potentially compounds liability. Cancellation delays revenue recovery while properties languish in uncertainty. Treasurer Pappas has urged legislative action for years. Housing advocates have organized testimony. County officials statewide have requested clarity. The General Assembly possesses authority to resolve this immediately. Members have understood the constitutional problem since 2023. Bills exist, hearings occurred, votes haven't happened. SB 3940 demonstrates how simple compliance could be. Counties auction properties to highest bidders. Sale proceeds first satisfy outstanding tax obligations. Remaining balances transfer to original owners. 3 steps: constitutional alignment, equitable outcomes. Extended redemption periods could provide additional runway for struggling families. Enhanced notification requirements could ensure people understand their situations before deadlines expire. Details warrant debate. Core principles are settled. Capturing $90,000 of someone's equity to collect $10,000 in taxes cannot continue. 49 states have adapted to constitutional requirements. Illinois remains frozen. Legislative sessions pass without action. Families lose homes without compensation. Liability accumulates without acknowledgement. The courts delivered unmistakable guidance. The Constitution establishes non-negotiable boundaries. Solutions exist in pending legislation. Execution requires only political will. Cook County's March auction will proceed or pause. Springfield will act or abstain. Homeowners will receive justice or continued exploitation. Evidence is overwhelming. Legal standards are explicit. Harm is ongoing and documented. Over 1,000 families already surrendered everything over debts that patients might have resolved. Elderly residents who trusted homeownership as security, parents who planned to pass something forward, neighbors who needed temporary flexibility, not permanent dispossession. One signature could end this. The only question remaining, will anyone provide it?
ChooseZorro.com.
Okay, that's another good video from her on YouTube. I think she got that was Illinois video. I got 2 short ones coming up, and a 10-minute one, and a couple of 5s. And then we'll get to Billy. Dang it.
Are orbiting silently above our heads right now. Why has nobody ever grabbed a camera,
There's Maria.
pointed
I
it
got your
straight up on a
text
clear
there
night, and caught
yesterday.
even one of them crossing the open sky on film? And here is what really messes with your head. We have mapped every crater on Mars. We can zoom into a stranger's backyard from space. Yet not one clear, unedited photograph shows a crowd of satellites above Earth like they claim. So, who exactly decided you were not supposed to ask that out loud? Here's the thing. You've been told your whole life that GPS on your phone, your TV signal, your weather forecast, all of it bounces off satellites floating silently in space. Cool story. But look up tonight. What do you actually see? Stars. Maybe a plane. That is it. Over 8,000 active objects are supposedly up there right now. 8,000. Yet the sky looks completely empty. No trails. No signals you can physically trace. Nothing your own eyes will ever confirm. Think about this slowly. Every single day you trust your navigation, your banking, your emergency calls to a system you have never once personally verified exists where they say it does. You believed it because a textbook said so, and a glowing screen confirmed it. But your grandfather trusted the town map because he had actually walked every road himself. You are trusting invisible infrastructure in a vacuum that no private citizen has ever gone up to independently check. That should at least make you pause. If your brain is spinning right now, that is a good sign. It means you are thinking, not just consuming. This page drops videos exactly like this every single week. Questions nobody in your classroom ever encouraged you to ask. Hit follow right now because the next video makes this one look like a warm-up. Do not scroll past it. If thousands of...
Okay, so satellites are fake, Mike. 10 minutes on this one.
To explain to you why these distractions matter right now and why they're happening. Okay. Follow me. Hi, my name is Katie. For the people that don't know me that are seeing this, I have been on this app since the inception. My original account that I had for 6+ years was banned and deleted last September, the day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, because I made a video telling people that I thought we were being punked and that Erica was involved. I believed, in my opinion, that Erica was involved. At that point in time, everybody thought that I was dogging on a widow and thought that I was crazy, and there's no possible way. And my video started to go viral. I wound up on a hit page based out of Washington with my video plastered right next to Jimmy Kimmel the week that he got kicked off the air. I did everything in my power to get it back. I didn't get it back. And so I started this new page a couple months ago. I am a conspiracy theorist, which basically means I'm an open-minded person that believes all things are possible. I also am a very, very rooted Christian, rooted woman of faith. I love God Almighty with every fiber of my being, and I rely on him, and I have been deprogramming myself for the last 6 years. If you don't know who Chris Bledsoe is, you need to go
This is a good
search for him on
portfolio. What do
YouTube.
you think?
Chris Bledsoe is somebody that has had alien contact and contact with what he calls angels for decades. It is so profound that the government has been involved with following him. They have seen this, the angel that comes to see him, which he calls an angel, which is a entity in white, a very bright colored entity. Oh, he calls her the lady. There's podcasts all over YouTube. Chris Bledsoe says that the lady told him that on Passover of this year, on Easter of 2026, when the sun rises in the east, on the Sphinx, there will be a new knowledge. When the sun hits this red thing on the Sphinx, it's something you can learn if you go. He explains it better. But it is to the point where they believe him. The elites that run this world believe him, and all know that this is the return of Christ consciousness. This is the return. This is what Christians call the rapture of the church. This is the new knowledge, the new world being formed. It used to be just one system. Everybody knew the same things, but now people are breaking off. Some people know more than others. There's a lot of people that are in the dark. There are a lot of people that are completely psychologically manipulated by this system. There's a lot of people that are not smart enough or intelligent enough to think outside the box. And so they have no clue what's going on, and they would not believe you if you told them. They would look at you and say you were crazy if you told them what you know. I've been called crazy my whole entire life. And I feel like I've never belonged here. I've always been different, and it's always been for a reason. And I feel like each family has one member like me. And we are here for a reason, to make other people aware of how closed-minded they are and try to help them be more open-minded and accept what other people tell them and actually think about it and question everything. Chris Bledsoe is followed so closely by the elites, and he has been making this known about what is coming on Easter of this year, April 5th, 2026. There will be a new knowledge, is what he keeps saying. I firmly believe that all the distractions and the elites going crazy and people taking their money out and these elites hiding in bunkers and all of this stuff, they are squirming right now because they know they have nowhere to hide. Nowhere to hide, and there's nothing they can do. Absolutely nothing they can do about this convergence, this awakening, this new knowledge, this rapture, this coming back of Jesus. I firmly feel like that is happening this year. And if it's not, okay. Like the Bible says, no man knows the date and time, but I feel like everything that we have been learning and everything that we are finding out right now is teaching us to be neutral and open-minded enough to understand we live in a world where duality reigns. You cannot have light without dark. You cannot have good without bad. You cannot have black without white. You have to appreciate both because they teach you something. And I know that's hard to do. It's hard to do, but you have to take your feelings and emotions out of it and look outside of yourself. But I firmly feel like the distractions that are happening right now are evil, squirming, because they know they've met their match and their match is coming, because good will win. Good is going to win. And we are watching the dawn of the new earth, the dawn of the new earth being formed. At least that's what I believe. We are breaking into a new society. We are breaking down the old, sloughing off the old that didn't work. All the lies, all the preconceived notions that everybody's had. We are learning something new and are like children right now, because everything that we have believed to be true is opposite. And you have to appreciate the opposites, because if it was nothing but good all the time, nobody would understand what good even was. So I've seen so many people on here asking, why do you think they're squirming right now? Why all the distractions? Why all the distractions? Something big is coming. I feel anxious in my spirit. I feel like, I'm riding a roller coaster in my stomach. It's because we are close. At least I feel like we are close to stepping into a new knowledge, the return of Christ consciousness, the return of Jesus, something like that. I don't know for a fact. All I know is that every single thing that I've ever learned throughout my life has led me to this point. And I know that for a reason. And I know why I'm different. I was meant to be different. I have a calling on my life to be different and to help people wake up. Each of us have a calling on our life to do something important. And every voice that spoke out and was courageous enough to speak up and say what they thought is changing the norms and the system and helping break down all of the preconceived notions that we have. My son's pretending to be a cat in the hallway, apparently. But yeah, that's why all the distractions right now. That's why you feel anxious, at least in my opinion. And I could be wrong, but I am not the only person saying this. I'm not the only person that's come to this revelation. Go check out Chris Bledsoe on YouTube. His son is also on YouTube. His daughter is on here. He's also on here. Just go search Chris Bledsoe and listen to what he has to say with an open mind. And make sure that you listen to everything that people are telling you right now with an open mind and question everything. Take everything to the good Lord. All of it. Try the spirits. You will know them by their fruit. I'm just so thankful that I've had God in my life. I'm so thankful because he's shown me what I needed to see and when I needed to see it. And I know my family and my friends, they've not understood this ride, this journey I've been on. And eventually they will, is the great thing, is eventually they'll understand and be like, oh, and now that all this is coming out and people are learning everything that they thought was crazy or not possible is possible. And that they've been manipulating us, psychologically manipulating us all since birth. And it's true. People don't want to hear it because they don't want to come face to face with the reality that they were wrong. And they've been wrong. And that's sad. But yeah, love you back. I want to tell you.
Okay, how was that one, you guys? I got our TikTok, one of the ladies with the glasses. She talks kind of fast. She's a good one. 5 minutes. And I got one more 10-minute one, and then we'll do Billy.
General Pam Bondi said the DOJ is done releasing the Epstein files, even though roughly half of the 6 million documents they have are still under wrap.
If the DOJ doesn't want to release the rest of the documents and at least unredact some of these names, that is perfectly fine. We're just going to assume that at this point that it's all of you and we're going to act accordingly. That being said, I'd like to run through a few things that have happened since these documents have been released until now. It was just announced that Tom Pritzker, who is the Hyatt Hotels chair billionaire, has resigned from his position because of his name showing up in these Epstein emails a whole bunch of times. You piece of shit. Kathy Rummelier was the chief legal officer and general counsel for Goldman Sachs. She resigned. She called him Uncle Jeffy or older brother. Brad Karp, who was the chairman, Paul West Law Firm, resigned as chairman in early February 2026, deciding the distraction from the emails revealing meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. Ahmed bin Sulayem also resigned, and he was the chairman and CEO of DP World. Peter Attia, who is the longevity expert at CBS. Nobody cares about CBS, but that's what he was. He resigned. Peter Mandelson, who is the UK Labour peer, former business secretary and UK ambassador for the US, resigned. Mona Jewel, who is a Norwegian former ambassador to Jordan and Iraq, she resigned because her email had a serious failure of judgment, quote, in ties to Epstein, including a $10 million bequest to her and her children's will. Miroslave Lajakak, I don't know, was the security advisor and former foreign ministry of the UN General Assembly, resigned in February of 2026. Jack Lane also was the French former culture minister. He stepped down. David A. Ross had resigned because of his emails with Epstein. Joanna Rubinstein has resigned after it was found out that she had actually gone to the island. Lee Smolian, who is a theatrical physicist, founding member of Pyramidal Institute, has resigned. Kimball Musk, Elon Musk's brother and entrepreneur, resigned from the Burning Man Project board over backlash over the Epstein. Howard Lutnick has not resigned at all, hasn't even talked about it. In fact, has the entire administration standing with him. Steve Tisch, not resigned. Casey Wasserman has not resigned. And the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has not resigned. And that's okay, because you know what? You're never going to be able to walk down the goddamn street again without security. You're just not. I got this video the other day about Marina Abramovich, who did the spirit cooking. Remember, she's got a video with Jay-Z and they're like dancing all witchy like because they're casting spells, right? And she went on this podcast and she's like, it's so annoying because she can't go anywhere in public because of Alex Jones type conspiracy. And it's honestly, it's not fun at all. She's received so many threats that she has had to hire private security because people with weapons were coming after her. I remember watching Dr. Anthony Fauci's CBS interview after the COVID stuff had happened, where he was walking with his wife. And that was something that he had stated too, that they cannot go anywhere without their private security. Now, don't get me wrong. I want gallows. I want them public, and I want them hung up high. Okay. I want them hung hot. But I feel like this is a very good first step. Okay, public pressure is a very good first step. And this is kind of where the war is. We're not going to get into a revolution here. Any kind of like 1776 with we're not getting into, this is where the war is, social media and constant pressure. Stepping down is not good enough. I want to see a swing, but this is a good first step. None of these people are going to be able to leave their homes ever again without private security. They're just not. You're not. Do you hear? Eventually, we're going to get there with celebrities, too. I'm not seeing it yet, but God, it's got to get there. Like, why are we watching the Super Bowl? Why are we watching Jay-Z's halftime show? And no, I'm not going to go watch Erica Kirk's shit either, because she killed that dude, allegedly. Any losers? It's definitely not the accountability that we want, but I just want to highlight the few things that have happened. And also with the recent drop of this list of names where the DOJ, they muddied the waters with just non-essential, non-quest essential names in it to kind of confuse and throw everybody off. Basically, they were trolling a couple congressmen and everybody else is what happened, because the legislation that they had signed and pushed through wanted all the names. So they're like, well, then here's all the names, right down to Elvis fucking Presley. But like, we don't give a fuck. I don't care who's on whatever list you're going to put out. Then hang them all. Hang them all. Kill them. What do you think I care? These emails are horrific. So don't think for a fucking second we're just going to let this go. Don't think for a fucking second that we're just going to walk away and not talk about it. I ain't voting ever again. Like, I'm not going to vote ever a fucking again. And to anybody that's in my comments, they're like, well, you have to. No, I don't. You mean tell me I have to go vote? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. After all of this, absolutely not. That is the absolute least thing I can do right now, is to not vote, is to not give you my energy in that aspect. That is the thing that's going to affect me the least, is not voting. And I'm not voting, and I'm not getting wrapped up into your campaign. I'm not picking or choosing anybody. Absolutely not. We see people swing. This is garbage. This is garbage. You're going to keep the other half of them documents. That's bullshit. You know who these people are, and you're not going to do anything. You're not. You're complicit. You're just as complicit. At this point in the game, bring on the fucking robots. You know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. Whatever, I guess. It didn't fucking matter. Whatever.
Against what one lawmaker is now labeling the Epstein administration after Attorney General.
Okay, that was another good one from her. Important one. 10 minutes or 9 minutes on this one.
gubernatorial race in Texas. I helped run the campaign for Chad Prather. There were 3 gubernatorial candidates. It was Chad Prather, Alan West, and Don Huffines. They were all running against Abbott, and the whole slogan for all 3 candidates was anyone but Abbott. I'm sure a lot of Texans will remember. We were traveling all over Texas. Towards the end, I actually became the campaign manager for Chad Prather for the gubernatorial primary. Abbott won, as you all know. But during that time, we were all very close. We were all traveling together. We were going all over Texas, holding debates, the 3 candidates, Don Huffines, Alan West, and Chad Prather. So in that process, we all had each other's personal cell phone numbers and we were all communicating. It was already very well known that Don Huffines was very wealthy. And of all the candidates that had the biggest war chest, it was Don Huffines. That was understood by all. And he got a lot of his money through land investments. Now, as all of you know, now it has come out that Don Huffines owns Zorro Ranch. Huge controversy. I get it. Huge controversy. And a lot of people have questions. A lot of people have tried to reach out to Don Huffines, has not really gotten any kind of response. So I want to clarify a few things here, because a lot of people are saying the money went to victims, and that is something that he has also stated. So I want to clarify something about that. The money did not directly go to Epstein's victims. They bought the ranch in 2023. Victims' payouts went out in 2021. Money went to a fund, and money from other sales went to the same fund. The proceeds from the sale of Zorro Ranch in New Mexico were actually directed to his estate to fund the administration of the estate, which includes paying creditors, taxes, and lawsuits. And an attorney from the Epstein estate actually confirmed that this was true, that the sale was specifically to satisfy claims against the estate. And proceeds from his various properties has been used to fund the Epstein's Victim Compensation Program. The ranch was sold in 2023 for an undisclosed amount to a company that was tied to Don Huffines. Property was originally listed for $27.5 million in 2021 before the price was reduced. So the sale for that 8,000 acre property was meant to be a large effort to liquidate Epstein's assets, which totaled over $500 million. And part of that money was supposed to settle with victims and pay off taxes and legal debt. The Virgin Islands settled with JP Morgan in 2022. So that money didn't even go into the fund. So as we understand it, that money was supposed to, part of the money was supposed to go to victims and for future victims' funds. 225 victims applied, 135 victims were approved. Why? Because they had to sign a disclosure that stated that they would not sue the Epstein estate in the future. Epstein's estimated worth was $600 million. He had the house and townhouses in Palm Beach in 2021, and they sold. St. James wasn't sold until 2023. So his estate had cash assets that were supposed to be paid in 2021. This would not have included Zorro Ranch or the islands because they had not yet been sold. So with that information I just provided to you, I went ahead and took the liberty to personally text Don Huffines. And I was very straightforward. And I said, this is not a good look. I really feel like you need to make a statement because your whole family is all over X right now. And you've got to say something. This is not good. You are a candidate in Texas and you're being quiet about this. And I didn't say this part, but on his account, he's continuing to post and completely ignoring the elephant in the room, right? And I even said, you don't have to respond to me. I know lots of other people are reaching out to you. Respond to someone, anyone. Here's his response. Thank you for reaching out. I'm doing 3 events today in Houston, on plane to another one. There really isn't much to share. The statement we put out speaks for itself. I make a living buying real estate, mainly land. This ranch was going to a public auction and we bought it after I was assured the proceeds would go to the victims. This was 4 years after the scumbag died. There isn't much else to say. I have never seen the property before the sale. I never had seen the property before the sale. I will text back. And then if you look at the bottom, I asked him point blank. I said, I just have one question. Considering the allegations being made, considering the outcry of some of these victims, would you be willing to allow authorities to excavate the land to search for bodies? I told him, if he did, it would be huge. I feel like it would be the only thing that would make some people happy. Trying to get him to respond. Considering I have a large following, I told him I'll type something up. Just please give me something. Y'all know that for the last couple of weeks, I have worked really hard on the Epstein files, and I'm trying to provide you all factual information about the absolute scumbags in these files. So I'm really trying to get to the bottom of this here. And I'm really trying to see where Don Huffine's head is at with all of this, right? Especially after telling me that he was assured that the funds would go to the victims. Either you didn't do you were lied to, and you didn't do your research. So now we kind of need answers, right? He did respond to me asking him that, and he said, almost landed. This implies that you're going to respond to my question. It was a while later. I said, any word? Never got a response. I want you all to understand that this is not an accusation. I searched him and his whole family in the files that are available to us, if you catch my meaning. And they're not in there. But when you are a high profile candidate, when you are running for a high leadership position in the state of Texas, silence is loud. I'm going to say again, it would be very wise for Don to make some sort of statement about his willingness to allow this to happen on this land. It could obviously settle a lot of questions, but it's concerning that he didn't respond. And I understand he's not obligated to respond to me, but from what I understand, he has not responded to anyone about this question, and it has been asked by many other people. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. There could be numerous reasons why he doesn't want the land to be excavated, but in the climate we are in, considering what's been going on the last couple of weeks, it is not a good look to not respond to this question. I say that as someone who actually previously supported him for comptroller. But you know that I'm going to call it out no matter what. I'm going to be honest. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care who you are. These are facts that I'm sharing with you. I'm just sharing my experience today with what happened with Don Huffines. Take it as you will. I strongly urge and encourage Don Huffines to come out with a statement regarding this specific question, or I think you're going to lose. You're going to lose your election.
Okay, that was an important one, lady from Texas there. All right, Billy, meantime, 30 minutes, you guys.
I don't know what to tell you. Check out Opera Browser with Opera AI. It's free, and I'll leave the first link.
Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean. Today is February 18, 2026, time in Texas, about 10 a.m. Some of the things we'll cover. Update on Nancy Guthrie. The U.S. military preps for a Middle East hit. Gold up to $20,000 an ounce. Hey, it isn't so. China tries to take over the UN, and President Trump is gearing up the Board of Peace. So let's get started. So what do we have going on in the Nancy Guthrie case? This is day 18 of her disappearance. She disappeared February 1. Now, we have no major breaks in the case so far. We do have law enforcement coming out and making this statement that kidnapping for ransom is very rare in the U.S. I attribute that to the great strides by the FBI in years past, becoming known globally as FBI, a takedown of kidnappers. So that's very rare. We've had no proof of life. We have not had a legitimate request or demand for ransom. There have been some individuals who appeared to want to capitalize on the kidnapping and make money through a Bitcoin, but those did not appear to be legitimate ransom demands. So what could be the reason for Nancy Guthrie's disappearance? There are some rumors that Nancy Guthrie was associated with a group who were going to present information against Big Pharma for and some type of U.S. government welfare fraud running through labs and Big Pharma outlets, bringing into the U.S. fentanyl and other dangerous drugs related to hospice orders. So I can see that as a possible reason for Nancy's disappearance, if she was indeed going to present information against Big Pharma and big labs and some type of hospice, welfare, U.S. government fraud. That would be reasonable. And I do know that we've had friends of hers bring forth testimonials that Nancy had been involved in either working with support groups for hospice care and so on. So to me, there does appear to be some legitimate reasons why it could be that Nancy was associated with the witness program against Big Pharma and fraud against the U.S. government, bringing drugs into the U.S., ostensibly to be used at hospice outlets. So yeah, that's going on. That seems reasonable to me as a reason why someone would be hired to disappear her. So it's good to be continually in prayer for Nancy Guthrie and her family. So that's going on. And we have this. So the sun continues to be quiet. We don't have any incoming flares or M-class flares from the sun. No G1 or G and upward geomagnetic storms to be expected. We are seeing some unusual things on the Earth, including a 19-mile bulge in Yellowstone Park a caldera. It has risen 1 inch since July and continues rising. I know in the fall of 2020, I had that word from the Lord that magma inside the earth is rising in all directions. So we could see in Yellowstone a rising of magma inside the earth. We do know that the magnetic poles of the earth, the north and south, are dramatically shifting. The North Pole is moving very fast from Canada into Siberia, and that almost daily recalibrations are being made by GPS, navigation, and other systems, compasses, and so on. And that NOAA and the USGS continue to tightly monitor the movement of the Earth's North Pole. So that's going on. And we have this. Now, there's a rumor. I just heard this morning. I would have to research this. The rumor. August 12, 2026, the gravity in the Earth will disappear for 7 seconds. So that's a rumor that's going on. Links regarding this rumor are being tied to the black hole that's in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. Well, for my part, I'm putting that forth as a rumor. I'm not familiar with any episodes of the gravity disappearing on Earth. So that's going on. And what do we have? Okay. We do have a serious move by the U.S. military to make, it's believed, a military hit on Iran.
Have you ever seen a magical product that can instantly restore rusty iron items to like new condition? This is precisely what the Ultra Strong.
And we have had in the past 24 to 48 hours, the U.S. military moving up to 50 jets into the Middle East. We also have this coming out. We've been hearing about President Trump putting the U.S. military in charge of seizing sanctioned tankers coming out of Venezuela, coming out of Iran now, and also Russian tankers. So yesterday, the French Navy seized a Russian tanker in international waters, and France demanded from the captain a fine of $3 million. And France said they would not let the tanker go until the fine was paid. Russia paid the fine, and then France got off of the tanker and let it go. A very bizarre incident. Then, within hours, Russia said it's now going to put the Russian Navy as escorts for Russian tankers. So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah, France grabbed the Russian tanker yesterday. We have the CCP. Poland bans Chinese-made cars and vehicles. They cannot come on any military bases inside Poland. Poland believes that the Chinese-made cars have built into them spy devices. And we have this. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Waltz, says China is now pushing for control of the UN. Since the U.S. has pulled out of the UN, Russia wants to control it. Well, hey, Russia, have you heard of President Trump's Board of Peace? that's coming forth as a replacement for the UN. So that's going on. We have this. We had yesterday, or for the past several days, a meeting, a global meeting in Munich, Germany. Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke there and was talking about Iran. We have on the U.S. table regime change in Iran. And many pundits now are saying that a regime change in Iran could lead to a civil war. That isn't my position. I believe that a regime change in Iran could certainly lead to a change in the form of government from a theocracy, a religion ruling a country, to a republic, form of the people voting in the leaders that they want. So personally, I believe a regime change in Iran would be good for the Iranian people. We have this from Monkey Works. Okay, in the past 24 to 48 hours, we've had 50 jets leave the U.S. and go to the Middle East. We've also had an increase in the price of oil per barrel measured on the Brent oil survey. I think it went up to about $65 to $68 per barrel. In December, the Brent oil measure had been $58 per barrel. So we see, as we can expect, if the U.S. and Iran exchange blows, we can expect globally to see an increase in the price of oil per barrel. So that's going on. And we have this, that U.S. intel is talking about Russia and China trying to assist Iran, but neither Russia nor China want to engage militarily against the U.S. military. So we have more intel. We have a transitional regime change in Iran, transitional government to be headed up by Risa Pahlavi, as put forth by the U.S., and that we have tens of thousands of U.S. troops now in Jordan, in Kuwait, and in Bahrain and Oman. So we have tens of thousands of U.S. troops in Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait. We also have them in Jordan, along with many planes. We have this. We have U.S. plane jets flying to Rota, Spain, to Crete, and to Kuwait. And the U.S. is pre-positioning their, it's believed the bombers have already been pre-positioned. And in the last 24 to 48 hours, the U.S. was sending over 50 more jets, fighter jets. So yeah, yesterday we did have Brent oil index going up per barrel of oil, $15 to $25. And this is just, because the U.S. is setting up there. And we have this. So there's been confusion about the carriers that are going to the Middle East. Monkey Works puts forth that he had information the Bush had left February 3, and I had put out last week that we had the Nimitz and the Bush leaving. We already had the Lincoln there, and then we heard in the past 24 to 48 hours that also the Ford is leaving the Caribbean, going to the Middle East. Now, I submit this. I believe the Nimitz is already there, the Bush is already there, and the Lincoln's already there. So that's going on. And that the Ford Carrier Group coming out of the Caribbean is not there yet. It's believed by military analysts that we have around Iran 1/3 of the U.S. Navy. So that's going on. And we have this. Iran says it. So there were, in the past couple of days, meetings in Geneva between the U.S. government and Iran, and the U.S. government, and also Russia, Ukraine, in Geneva, Switzerland. So Iran said at their meeting, yeah, we'll put a little bit on the table, and we want to think about things, and we'll reschedule another meeting in 2 weeks. Now, we know that according to the theocracy that rules Iran, it's okay for the Iranians to lie, cheat, and steal against anyone who is not of their religion. And it's believed that Iran is simply vying for time while they continue to receive military equipment and support from Russia and China. So that's going on. And we have also a fresh occurrence of the IRGC gunning down the Iranian people who are protesting in the streets. You know, just about 3 to 4 weeks ago, the Iranian economy collapsed. And then inflation shot up like 200 to 300%. People can't buy food, and many of the banks collapsed. So yeah, the Iranian theocracy, the religion running Iran, apparently can't think its way through managing the Iranian economy, thus collapsed. And it's now being put forth by analysts who are familiar with the Middle East that the Iranian government is not currently managing anything in Iran. It's not managing the economy, it's not managing the banks, it's not managing the grocery stores, nothing.
Take the wild out of the wilderness with
Oh, uh-oh. What did I do wrong now? $13 minutes, guys.
Iran. It's not managing the economy, it's not managing the banks, it's not managing the grocery stores, nothing. The Iranian government, many of whom have already left Iran, many of whom are in bunkers, are doing nothing for the people except putting snipers on roofs to shoot down their own citizens in their streets. It appears that the government of Iran is certainly taking its last steps. So that's going on. And we have this. So we see a major setup for the U.S. military to strike Iran. We see oil going up per barrel already. Now, this is coming out. Someone somewhere oligarchs, billionaires know something that most of us don't know, but these big investors are taking December options for gold and putting forth that they believe gold by December will go to $15,000 to $20,000 per ounce. What do they know that we don't? So that's going on. And we have this. Yeah, the IRGC is in the streets shooting its people down. And that it's being said in the streets. This is from 2C TV. And he has contacts inside Iran, and
Hey,
he
10
can
minutes.
translate the language. And he said, the people are shouting in the streets. Thousands may be killed. Everyone may be killed, but thousands will rise. So the Iranian people seem very open to regime change. They are in the streets of Iran dying for that cause. And we have this.
Hello, I'm Perry Johnson. I got my start in the auto industry at a time when the Japanese had come in and they were killing us in market.
So we had going in the last 24 to 48 hours to Iran, we had 12 F-22s leaving Virginia, going to the Middle East, accompanied by 3 KC refuelers. We had 12 F-16s leaving South Carolina, going to Rota, Spain, accompanied by 7 refuelers. And we have 2 E-3 Sentry planes. These are Intel surveillance planes, leaving out of Elmendorf in Alaska, going to the UK. We had special F-16s equipped to block radar, also included in that movement. And we have this. We have, in the last 24 hours, the U.S. has moved 50 jets, including F-35s, F-22s, F-16s. And we had also, it's being put forth that President Trump has a plan. He's already hit Venezuela. He's now going to hit Iran, and that Cuba would be next. And then it's believed Mexico. And what can we say about Canada? I got this to say to Canada. It isn't a good idea for Canada to allow the CCP to bivouac in Canada. And Greenland, as I have put out, is now a dying fish on the dock. And we have this. So Iran has moved anti-ship missiles to their border, right in this area. So we have in Oman, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, many U.S. military assets. Iran is now putting anti-ships missiles on launchers along its coast. And the Iran plan is to close the Strait of Hormuz right here, through which 20% of the world's oil flows. This is expected then to increase the price of the barrel of oil. And Iran has put out an AI-generated video that shows Iran sinking U.S. ships. It's being put out as propaganda. Propaganda to who, we would wonder? It must be to the world, because Iran snipers are now shooting the people of Iran in the streets of Iran. Because people of Iran are not open to seeing propaganda. So I guess Iran wants to present this false front to the world. Yeah, that's from New York Prepper. Yeah, we've moved F-22, 6 out of Virginia, F-16s, F-35s. We have also, it's being put forth that a likely date for this U.S. strike on Iran could be March 3. Several things happened then. We have a blood moon, and it's also the date of Purim, which is a Jewish ceremony. And we have this, the U.S. And yesterday, last 24 hours, New York Prepper puts out the U.S. military on the U.S. nuclear radio system inside the U.S., which you can hear on New York Prepper's program. If they're active and certain things are going on, we the people can also hear codes being given to our jets and so on. It's called the U.S. Military Nuclear Radio Network. So yesterday, the U.S. military on this radio network were doing what's called tuning the antenna, which they had done several days before. They had the last hit on Iran, Midnight Hammer. So that's going on. And we have this. We had 12 F-16s going to Aviano in Italy. We had 12 F-16s going to Germany, plus refuelers with them. And this is similar to the move that was made 4 days before Midnight Hammer. So that's going on. We have this, President Trump's Board of Peace, which many are putting forth is a replacement for the UN. President Trump successfully has withdrawn America from the UN. From who? And from other globalist organizations. Way to go, President Trump. Now, President Trump has started up this Board of Peace. They invited 50 to 60 nations to join. Many nations have joined, very few from Europe. And they're going to have their first meeting February 19, 2026 in Washington, D.C. President Trump is the chairman. We have some Americans on the executive board, including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Europe is not joining, but Europe plans to send representatives just to attend the meeting. Some of the Middle East countries who have joined, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, Bahrain, Pakistan, Turkey, Hungary, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Morocco, and also Jordan, Kosovo, Albania. We have European Bulgaria. We have Latin American, Argentina, Paraguay. We have some breakaways from the Soviet Union, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. We also have Mongolia that borders China. We have Indonesia and Vietnam and other nations. So they're going to be meeting for their first meeting in Washington, D.C. And one of the things they'll be putting forth is $5 billion to rebuild Gaza, and also to put in place a system to form a new international stabilization force. In other words, something like the UN peacekeepers. But these international military forces will be under the control of the Board of Peace. And it's likely these international stabilization force would go into Gaza to secure Gaza during its reconstruction. And hey, could we see something like that also on the table for the talks between Russia and Ukraine? Just saying. So it's good to be in prayer for America, President Trump, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, that's the first Billy Bean out. I got a couple short ones, and then we'll do the X2 report from yesterday. Yeah, I don't think anybody want to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, did we play? We'll see that one for later. Shoot. What should we do here? What should we do? We'll go ahead and get the X2 report. Or wait, we'll do the image. This next one's 7 minutes, and then we'll do the X2 report. I don't know if anybody's seen this one.
Go save the astronauts from the ISS stuff. You're precious. I just find you so innocent and pure. But I have some things to show you. First, what you need to know is that the ISS is supposedly traveling at a whopping 17,000 miles per hour at all times. It doesn't speed up or slow down, otherwise it can't stay in orbit. And while there seems to be some discrepancy in how fast it looks like it's moving, here it is as Dragon is coming into dock. And well, it doesn't look like it's moving at all. And the Earth, it's just barely inching along there. But when you go to it ejecting, something changes drastically. A lot of motion here from both the Earth or the ISS. One of the two looks like it's moving. Supposedly they both are at great speeds. Now I want to show you some footage from the Joe Rogan show when he had an astronaut on, and pay close attention to what the astronaut says, confirming how fast they're moving.
It can prepare you for everything except for the visual. When you get up there and you see the whole Earth below you, some people go out there and get like a sense of fear of falling. But of course, if you let go, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
The space station's moving 17,500 miles an hour, but so are you.
Wow, space is magical. It's amazing how slow 17,000 miles per hour looks when you're up in space. It's magical. How does space do that? It slows things down even though they're going so fast. Let me show you what just 6,599 miles per hour looks like from the supersonic sled. Check it out. 6,000 miles per hour. And let's take a look again. This time, let's look at half speed. And now this is supposedly 3 times faster at 17,000 miles per hour. And I know what some of you are going to say, but perspective, the Earth is so far away that it just doesn't really look like it's moving. Well, that's fine. You can say that, but let's at least be consistent. Here's that 17,000 miles per hour again, or the Earth in something's not right here. Something's not consistent. And I'm telling you, start looking at these things with an inquisitor's eye instead of a believer's eye. Now, I want to show you something else. You know what else travels at 17,000 miles per hour? The space rockets that are supposedly leaving Earth's orbit. They go at 17,000 miles per hour. And while the International Space Station is supposedly, and I say supposedly every time because supposedly it's only 254 miles high, orbiting the Earth. So that's not that far, right? So why did it take 29 hours to get there when it's going 17,000 miles per hour? A typical airplane travels at a cruising speed of about 500 or 600 miles per hour. So for an airplane going 500 or 600 miles per hour, it would only take about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes to travel 254 miles. Yet the Dragon that's going 17,000 miles per hour took 29 hours to reach the ISS, which is, again, just orbiting the Earth at supposedly 254 miles high. Maybe these rockets that they tell us travel at these tremendous speeds, like 17,000 miles per hour, aren't traveling as fast as they say. That looks like a balloon slowly launching up into the atmosphere. And maybe not only are they not going as fast, maybe they're not going to the places they tell us they're going to. I mean, have you ever seen what the flight paths look like? Oh, hey, speaking of balloons, did you ever see when NASA jettisoned one of its giant metal 1,000-pound fuel tanks and how it looked like a balloon just slowly meandering, making its way back down to Earth? Do you know what I want to do for you since I find you so cute and adorable? I want to give you the chance and the opportunity that I never had. I want to tell you, if you still believe that those rockets are going to space and rescuing astronauts that have been on the ISS for months, I'm giving you the opportunity to say, just look, explore, and maybe these astronauts that you think are in space might just be in water. And maybe there's just green screen and other technology that they're using to manipulate you and to fool you into thinking that space travel is real and the Earth is moving and that it's not an enclosed system. Well, I'm here and I'm telling you, I'm knocking on your door saying, look into it. You see, I never had someone tap me on the shoulder and say, Tyler, look at this. Why are there discrepancies here? Why is it taking them 29 hours when it's 250 miles away and they're going 17,000 miles per hour? Why are there discrepancies in the first US versus Russian spacewalk? I mean, the Earth literally is moving faster here than here. And don't even get me started on just how really real it looks. So like I said, I'm giving you a softball. I'm hoping you hit it out of the park. But don't just believe me, you innocent, beautiful, adorable, sweet human that is trusting and just trust people because we should be able to trust people. Get annoyed enough by me that you go try to prove me wrong.
Well, you're
and
okay.
See what happens. But
This
of
is a
course, all
bad
this
time
for
to have a
entertainment
show 'cause
purposes.
everybody's at
I'm
work and all
sure that the
but
Dragon rocket went up and only took
I'll be
29
back
hours
on at
because it had
6.
to
I
take
had to
a
go to my sister
parabolic
last
curved
night.
path and slingshot around the moon to be able to catch up to the
A lot of
ISS
people are
because it's
listening
going so fast. And
right now, not
even
many
though it
in
was going
chat.
so fast, it still took 29 hours going 17,000 miles per hour when it was only 250 miles away. And like I said, entertainment only, just like I'm sure these are all curved because it's going around the curve of the Earth.
Okay, that was the latest on the image guy. So we just did Billy Bean. Now we're doing yesterday's XT report next. I'll probably go to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, and then come back at 6. A lot of intel. My game's on at 9 tonight, so
Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3842 AM. Today's date is February 17th, 2026, and the title of the episode is Canada is Falling into Trump's Trap. Buying power is being returned to the people.
Canada news,
It's interesting. We've all seen the headlines about those miracle weight loss shots, but the 2026 data is officially in, and it's a wake-up call. A major analysis revealed that once people stop the injections, they regain an average of 60% of their weight within a year. Even worse, most of the gain is pure fat, but the muscle they lost stays gone, leaving them with a crashed metabolism and a body that's functionally older than when they started. That's why I'm obsessed with today's sponsor, GLP-1 Elevate. Instead of using needles to override my system, it uses clinically studied plant-based ingredients like metabolate to help my body naturally boost its own hunger control signals. I get the same fullness and fewer cravings, but without the scary side effects or the metabolic rebound. It supports my goals while protecting my muscles so I can actually keep the results for good. To celebrate Valentine's Day, get 50% off GLP-1 Elevate at trimwithx22.com. Every order includes a complete support bundle with a free VIP coaching for life, a 60-day money-back guarantee, and free express shipping on subscriptions. Head over to trimwithx22.com now to claim your 50% discount before it expires, or just click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, you can see piece by piece what is Trump doing. He's removing everything that they have done. And you can see while he's doing this, he's preparing his new system. And every step of the way, what is he going to do? He's going to show the people, look, I'm returning the buying power back to you. I'm returning the jobs to America. I'm returning manufacturing to America. I'm bringing back energy production to make energy cheap. I'm removing the Federal Reserve so this way they don't devalue the currency and we keep our buying power. He's doing all of these things because think about what the central bankers, the deep state players have done over a very long period of time. They basically destroyed our way of life. They destroyed our system, the one the founding fathers fought for. And they were bringing us back to a time of the British government, if you really look at it. And you could see that we are the serfs, we are the slaves, and they continually make us work harder and harder and harder, and they tax us over and over and over. And they use taxes to do what? To control us. I mean, really think about it. Does it really make any sense if we're continually paying tax on an item that we purchased? Like a house, for example. Why would we pay taxes every year on an item that we already own?
What do you think?
Would you like to pay taxes every year on a TV, on a piece of clothing, or anything else that you've purchased over and over and over? Because in the end, that's what they're going to do. And they use the taxes to control the people. Why? Because all of this was being set up to bring us into the central bank digital currency, where they would have full control in the end. And yes, they make the excuses like, oh, we need the taxes, the property taxes to pay for the schools. We need the property taxes to pay for the streets and the gardening and everything else. Well, when you remove the money laundering, when you remove the system that they set up, you don't need all of this. But this is something they never wanted you to see. They just wanted you to believe that you did need all of this and you needed to continually pay. And once again, people believe that there was global warming, there was climate change, and we were going to have to pay carbon taxes. Think about it. 20 years from now, if Trump didn't stop all of this, people would believe that we are the cause of all these problems. But think about it. Who's the true cause of most of these problems? It's the Federal Reserve. Why did we have to switch to plastics? Why don't we keep things in glass bottles? Because when the currency devalues and fuel costs go up because of the Federal Reserve and because of their agenda, everything becomes a lot more expensive. And what do you got to do? You need cheaper ways of shipping, producing. When the value of the currency declines, you have to move the production out of this country to cheaper currency, where you don't pay, not really cheaper currency, but you don't pay people a lot of money to produce the products. When you can't move those positions out of this country, you have to bring in cheaper labor, the illegals. That's what you've been witnessing. So who's the cause of all this? Oh, that's right. It's the deep state, the central bank, and their agenda. That's the problem. And that's what Trump is tackling right now. And if you go back a little bit in time, remember the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP or the TTIP? One is the Pacific, one is the Atlantic. They were two major multinational trade deals negotiated between 2013 and 2016. And they said, this is going to be incredible. It's going to really help America. Yes, just like NAFTA. It's really going to help. Now, Hillary Clinton was in favor of the TPP, as were most of the traditional Republican field of candidates in 2015, 2016. Trump was strongly against the TPP and pledged to exit out of any negotiations and scrap the U.S. participation if he was to win the 2016 election. And he did exactly that. Conservative Treehouse put this out and said, TPP was being falsely sold as a beneficial to 12 nations, massive trade agreement between the USA and Pacific Rim countries, including Australia and Southeast Asia nations. With the history of NAFTA behind us, we could see two major issues with the TPP. Number one, it was structured with a backdoor to let China into the deal. Number two, it was created to ensure the USA remained a service-driven economy. Supporters of the TPP and TTIP claim this multinational trade deal would create smooth supply chains that align on rules of origin. They believe TPP would benefit companies and lead to cheaper products. However, that agreement was designed to exploit the U.S. consumer market and prevent the country from ever regaining a strong manufacturing base. If the TPP was such a great trade deal for all the parties involved, why didn't the group finalize it after the U.S. withdrew? It's been a decade. So why haven't the TPP nations completed the trade agreement? Both TPP and TTIP were constructed and designed to keep exploiting the U.S. consumer market. That's it. That was the entire purpose of TPP, which was Asia, and TTIP, Europe. Corporations and lobbyists like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce wrote the TPP language to maximize corporate profits. That was the purpose of it. Now, here is where it gets really interesting, because you have to remember, with NAFTA, they made it so Trump couldn't just remove it. He really wanted it gone. So he had to restructure it into the USMCA, where he put certain clauses in there. So when he later came into office, he would then be able to remove it. And basically, how does he want to remove it? Well, he knows as soon as he placed tariffs on Canada, on the UK, and many countries, a lot of these countries, especially Canada, would start to turn to China. And he was counting on this. He was betting on it. And Canada is doing just that.
Watch what milk does to age-related macular degeneration.
If you can't drive at night because of vision problems, try this 7-second eye trick and watch your vision go from this.
They're now looking at China, which means Trump is going to allow Carney to do what he does best. He's a central banker. Their plan was to shift everything to China. So you can see the UK in alignment with China, Canada in alignment with China, Germany already saying China, they're the ones we're looking at. So once again, what is Carney doing? Well, he knows Trump is going to use the tariffs to pressure Canada into complying. So Carney, being the smart one, I'm holding up quotes, by the way, says, okay, you think you're going to do this? Well, watch me. I'm going to go to Canada and I'm going to bring in the cheap free stuff. No, we're not going to manufacture it. We'll assemble it, but we're not going to manufacture it. And we'll make an alignment with China. Trump was counting on this. Because once again, if you look at USMCA Article 3210, if a party enters into a free trade agreement with non-market country, the other parties may terminate this agreement on 6 months' notice and replace it with a bilateral agreement. The Canadian proposal violates the central tenet of the USMCA. Carney's proposal can only move forward if the Canadian government has already accepted that the USMCA trade agreement will come to an end. So Carney is strategically planning to keep Canada dependent on cheap foreign imports. Now, you have to remember, Carney is a central banker. Trump knows exactly how the central bankers think. And he knows that in the end, Carney was going to try to sidestep what Trump was doing. And he was going to form a relationship, a trade agreement with China. And Trump at this point says, okay, go ahead and do it. He's not going to stop him. Actually, Trump has already said he would like to get rid of the USMCA. He said it for a very long time. And now it looks like Canada has fallen right into the trap that Trump set. Now, like we said in the very, very beginning, the deep state players, they use the central bankers, they use taxes as control. And think about this. You're continually paying tax on property that you might already own. You already purchased it, but you're continually paying for it. And in the end, when all's said and done, you know that the central bankers, the deep state players, they will use this as a weapon against the people. And we're already starting to see this. Because if you look out in Nashville, and Fox Nashville put this out, historic Nashville landmark warns it will close without property tax relief. So what is happening right now? Robbie Starbuck explains. This story about the Acme feed store is insane. The woke geniuses in Nashville raised their property tax by nearly $500,000, which is more than their rent and net profit combined. Democrat Mayor Freddie O'Connell says it's not up to me whether he keeps that business open. So wait, they're using property tax. The business, okay, doesn't make enough money to pay for the taxes because the taxes are way above what they're bringing in as income. The taxes are way above their rent. So how in the world are they going to stay in this position? Now, take this case and then use it anywhere in this country. If they truly wanted your home, all they would have to do is raise the taxes where you couldn't pay anymore, which brings them to the question, do you actually own that home? Because if you stop paying taxes, even though it's paid off, you paid the bank, you have the title, but if you don't pay your taxes, you really don't own it. So no one really owns their land. You're actually borrowing it from the local government, aren't you? Because you're paying them. And when you stop paying, you lose it. So you really don't own it. You think you do, but you don't. And you're continually paying money on the property
17 minutes.
that you have no payments on. Really think about that. Hey, you know what's interesting? We've all seen the headlines about those miracle weight loss shots, but the 2026 data is officially in, and it's a wake-up call. A major analysis revealed that once people stop the injections, they regain an average of 60% of their weight within a year. Even worse, most of the gain is pure fat, but the muscle they lost stays gone, leaving them with a crashed metabolism and a body that's functionally older than when they started. That's why I'm obsessed with today's sponsor, GLP-1 Elevate. Instead of using needles to override my system, it uses clinically studied plant-based ingredients like metabolate to help my body naturally boost its own hunger control signals. I get the same fullness and fewer cravings, but without the scary side effects or the metabolic rebound. It supports my goals while protecting my muscles so I can actually keep the results for good. To celebrate Valentine's Day, get 50% off GLP-1 Elevate at trimwithx22.com. Every order includes a complete support bundle with a free VIP coaching for life, a 60-day money-back guarantee, and free express shipping on subscriptions. Head over to trimwithx22.com now to claim your 50% discount before it expires, or just click the link in the description. Does that make any sense whatsoever? Absolutely not. And they made you believe that this needs to be done so we can pave the roads, we can plow, we can, clean the streets, we can keep the schools open, we can do all these things while they launder the money. The whole thing is a gigantic scam. And this has to end. We don't need all of this. Their system, the central bank system, created all of this. And now we need to reverse it all. And you could see at this point in time, as the deep state players brought in all the illegals into this country, this was driving up rent, housing prices. It was driving up auto insurance, health insurance, you name it. Even though they told you it wasn't. You see, they continually lie to the people. Wall Street Maverick put this out and said, I'm not an economist or math genius, but I think deporting 20 million illegal aliens would probably make auto insurance a lot cheaper for everyone. EJ Antonio, PhD, says the empirical evidence is clear that illegal aliens increase the cost of your auto insurance, especially underinsured, uninsured coverage, because so many of the illegal drive without any insurance themselves. So, yes, how do they make up the difference? Well, I think we know how. They raise your insurance costs. So, again, the deep state players, the central bankers, they lied to us once again. Oh, no, this has no effect on the economy whatsoever. Inflation is not because we borrow a lot of currency and we put the country into debt. Inflation is not because of the central bank. It's because of some other reason that we just can't explain. Well, it's very, very simple. You put more currency into circulation, you dilute the currency, and that causes inflation, which really means the value of the currency is declining. It's that simple. And think about what Trump is doing right now. He's reversing everything the deep state, the central bankers have done right now. And yes, step by step, he's going to be removing the income tax, the property tax. Yes, this will spread across the country. All local governments will sign on because, again, when you shut down the Federal Reserve, you restructure it into the Treasury, and you're bringing in the currency via the tariffs. First of all, you're not causing inflation, so you don't need to tax people more and more and more. And if we're not borrowing the currency from the Federal Reserve and we're bringing in money externally, well, then you don't need the income tax. So that all disappears. And if you have all your buying power back, what happens? Well, you have checks and balances. And really think about this. If you don't borrow and all this money's not going into the NGOs and everything else, and you're not giving kickbacks, well, you stop the money laundering. All of a sudden, states, cities, towns, they all have to balance their budget. There's no funding for anything else. You see, when you have an open-ended credit card, you can say, hey, look, we didn't clean up the forest, so we need federal funds for the forest. Oh, the fires destroyed all the houses, but we're going to use the federal funds for what? To money launder. Oh, we can't fix the crime problem, so we're going to ask for federal funding. We need more money to fix the crime problem. We keep the crime continuing. We allow the criminals out, and
ringing in your ears, your brain is crying for help.
Anyone who doesn't treat ear ringing is definitely not being smart. It's something so easy to fix.
Basically, we bring in more federal funding. And this is what they do. The whole thing is one gigantic scam. And this is why Trump, piece by piece, is now reversing everything they have done. And this is going to shut everything down. Now, think about it. He's brought in investment. He has a tariff system, a parallel economic system, which is now competing against the central bank system. And now the factories have to be built. And like we said from the very, very beginning, that is going to help construction jobs. And you know what we're seeing today? EJ Antonio, PhD, explains, construction industry is hot right now. Not only did hiring jump in January, but construction firms are paying a premium for workers and doing their best to poach employees from other firms. Year-to-year pay increases among job changers was 6.6% last month. Now think about it. Deport the illegals, bring in the investment, build the factories, create all these construction jobs, salaries go up, and this is what you're witnessing right now. And it's going to get better and better because think about it. As more and more investments come in and the factories are now being slated to be built and they're contracting, they're going to need people. Now, there aren't any illegals to fill these positions at very, very low salaries. So the job openings are going to go to Americans. So you're going to see a lot of job openings for construction workers. When Trump brings the rate down to 2%, 1%, this is going to spur growth in the real estate industry, which means a lot more people are going to want to buy a house, which means more houses are going to be built. More houses are going to be refurbished, which means there's going to be a lot more construction jobs. Actually, if he adds on to that, a 50-year mortgage, that is going to be incredible. Now, once again, the 50-year mortgage doesn't mean you're going to pay it off in 50 years. Actually, what that's going to do is going to give you a very, very low mortgage payment. And when Trump returns the buying power to you, you're going to have additional funds to actually pay off that mortgage a lot quicker. So let's just use a very simple example, and we won't even go to where he pays off the debt. Let's just say Trump now has the tariff system, and the tariff system is paying for the interest on the debt, which means the income tax does not have to be collected from the people. So those people that are making $100,000 a year, let's say they were paying whatever, $20,000, $25,000 a year. They bought a house because really you're not getting the $100,000, you minus the $20,000, you're making 80, or if it's $25,000, $75,000. So $75,000, you're paying for the house that you just purchased, and let's say your mortgage is $1,000. Trump goes ahead and removes the income tax. Well, now you have that $20,000, $25,000 back. Does that make it a lot easier to pay for the mortgage? Absolutely. Does it seem that difficult now? No, not really, because now you have additional
got
buying
9
power.
minutes, you guys.
Instead of $2.50 a gallon, what happens
7
when fuel
minutes.
comes
Thank
down
you.
to
Princess
99
will be
cents?
next.
Think about that. All of a sudden, you have additional money back in your pocket. Plus, we get all the illegals out of this country, and now the American worker is being paid more. Your salary goes up by 2, 3, 4%. Is that $1,000 mortgage that difficult over the 50 years? No, actually, you probably could say, you know something? Yeah, I was barely making it, but now I can add a little bit in and I can pay this off a lot faster. And I'm not even including the part where he pays back the debt, because that $100,000 income is all of a sudden going to turn into $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, because that buying power comes back to you, which means the currency is worth a lot more money. And that fixed mortgage rate stays the same. That doesn't change. Think about that for a second. So Trump is about to change everything. And think about all the stories out there saying that, oh, foreign countries are dumping U.S. assets. It seems that, no, that's not really happening. Actually, we know from Russia, they're going to be taking on the dollar once again. I do believe they're going to be doing business with the United States in the end. China is not dumping their assets. Actually, they're buying more assets. Michael Pettis put this out and said the following. It's true that a headline claiming that China is dumping U.S. dollars assets is far more exciting than a headline claiming that China is steadily increasing its holding of U.S. dollar assets. But in fact, China is steadily increasing its holding of U.S. dollar assets. This should be obvious from the arithmetic. We know that foreigners are acquiring a huge amounts of U.S. assets, i.e. the U.S. is running huge trade deficits and China is acquiring huge amounts of foreign assets. China is running huge trade surpluses. If China were actually dumping USD assets, we would see massive dislocations in other markets. Absolutely. Peter Sang-Ong, PhD, confirms. All year, we were told Trump would make the world dump U.S. assets. In fact, China is buying more U.S. assets. It just offloaded them to its minion bankers. Absolutely. So we could see, yes, everything is not what everyone thought it was going to be. And things now are changing. Now, think about it. If everyone is holding the currency and we shift the currency from the Federal Reserve note to a true U.S. dollar, and we go back to the gold standard, this is going to be very interesting moving forward, don't you think? And you can see every step of the way, Trump now, he is finalizing a lot of the trade deals that he has started in the very, very beginning when he came into office. And he put this out on Truth. He said the following. Our massive trade deal with Japan has just launched. Japan is now officially and financially moving forward with the first set of investments under its $550 billion commitment to invest in the United States of America, part of our historic trade deal to revitalize the American industrial base, create hundreds of thousands of great American jobs, and strengthen our national and economic security like never before. Today, I am pleased to announce 3 tremendous projects in the strategic areas of oil and gas in the great state of Texas, power generation in the great state of Ohio, and the critical minerals in the great state of Georgia. The scale of these projects are so large and could not be done without one very special word, tariffs. The gas power plant in Ohio, a state I won 3 times, will be the largest in history. The LNG facility in the Gulf of America will drive exports and further our country's energy dominance, and our critical minerals facility will end our foolish dependence on foreign sources. America is building again. America is producing again. And America is winning again. This is a very exciting and historic time for the United States of America and Japan. Congratulations to all. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And think about this. Everything that he did in 2025, you're now seeing the results, and you're going to see more of the results in 2026. And as we move forward and as we go through the tax season, people are going to be absolutely shocked and surprised on the amount of money that is coming back to them, which means they're getting their buying power back. Now, is this full buying power? Of course not. Because again, Trump just can't say, hey, by the way, Federal Reserve, you're gone. Let's pay off the debt like that. Here's your buying power. So slowly but surely, what did he do? No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. Now with the one big beautiful bill, what did he do? He's giving the people money back, and you're receiving the buying power that the government was taking, which actually the central bank that was they were taking from you. And so now, in some cases, you can see probably up to 20% being returned to the people, which is going to put a lot more money back in the people's pockets. And think about it, as we go throughout this year, and there are more construction jobs because there's more manufacturing plants being built, manufacturing plants that are coming online, houses that are being built because interest rates are coming down and a 50-year mortgage is happening. Wages are going up because we're deporting the illegals. And now we could see that since that is gone, the American people can take those jobs. Wages go up. Rentals are coming down. Housing prices will probably come down. And all of this is happening at the same exact time. And this is how you take a system that was being destroyed by Biden/Obama and the central bankers, and yes, those people before them, and you basically turn it all around. You build the foundation in 2025, and you build the entire system up so people can see the benefit.
Watch what milk does to age-related macular degeneration.
If you can't drive at night because of vision.
In the year 2026, in the year 2027, and 2028, and so forth and so on. Because what's going to happen? All of this is going to build upon each other, and it's going to make the economy stronger and stronger and stronger and better and better and better. And Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said, tax refunds this year because of the great big beautiful bill are substantially greater than ever before. In some cases, estimates are that over 20% will be returned to the taxpayer. Your buying power being returned to you. So when you get your tax refund, think about what a wonderful president you have. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, no tax on overtime, interest deductions on car loans, and much more. Don't spend all the money in one place, DJT. And yes, as we go throughout this year and fuel prices come way, way down and more jobs are created. Because again, when you lower interest rates, when you lower fuel costs, when you remove the regulations, you create more jobs. More jobs, people spend in the economy. People spend in the economy, that makes businesses expand. And what's going to happen as we approach the midterms? The people are going to be completely happy about all of this. And they're going to want more. They're not going to want it to end. They're going to say, wait a minute, did you just mention that you might get rid of income tax? Well, I saw what you did with no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. I saw what you did with the fuel level coming down, the fuel prices coming down to what? $2, $1.90, $1.80. And now I see jobs, when I look around, they're plentiful and wages are way up. You know something? If you said you're going to get rid of income tax, yeah, I'm going to vote Republican. I'm going to vote for the people that you say to vote for because I want more of this. I'm loving life right now. I feel much better. And that is what Trump is doing. And again, he's prepping all this for what? To remove from the central bank. Because again, if he just does all of this, years down the line, what's going to happen? They're just going to reverse it. So we need to put certain laws in place. We need the central bank removed, and we need to make it impossible for the central bank to come back into existence. And once all of this is done, everything that he has done has to be codified in law. So I do believe that's where all of this is headed. And we could see we are on our way, and it's going to get better and better as time goes on. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.
Okay. So we got Billy Beam first video out. We got yesterday's Explorer out. And a few other short ones we did earlier. And So I want to do the 7-minute Patriot Princess, and then we'll make the YouTube funny lady make that one the last one, and come back at 6.
The Potomac River, but the government shutdown is hindering the agency's response.
A sewage pipe broke and is leaking into the Potomac River. It happened back in January 19th. Tomorrow, that'll be 30 days. Q-Post 970. Free Flynn. Done in 30. Final stage. Are we in the final stage? Q-Post 1281. Done in 30. Who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn? Done in 30. And look where this storm is happening. In the Potomac River, which feeds into the Chesapeake Bay, which is a major port. Think about that. Who knows where the bodies are buried? Flynn does. Is Flynn going to come into the picture soon and speak some truth about what's been going on at these ports? What's being shipped in those shipping containers? And Flynn was in Haiti and saw firsthand what was going on with the Clinton Foundation in Haiti. What were the Clintons shipping from Haiti on those shipping containers? And Haiti is pretty close to Epstein Island on the map. I mean, everything is a comm right now. Military in control. Q says, watch the news. The news shows the map. The news is the map. The news is talking about flooding into the Potomac River right now. Q post 4215. Oh, it's boom time, Bakers. Incoming mother of all bombs. Q post 1709. Oh, shit. Q was right. Now here comes the pain. Oh, shit. Something big is about to drop. And look back when this storm started happening. The pipe collapsed on January 19th, which is 119. Heartbreaking 119. Adrenochrome 119. And this has been pouring in to the Potomac River, which leads to the Chesapeake Bay, which is a major port. Has adrenochrome and children been being shipped through these ports? Are we going to find out from Flynn himself? It's all connected. Follow the money, the blood money. It's connected to adrenochrome, Haiti, the Clinton Foundation, Epstein Island, labs underneath Epstein Island, and it's all been shipped through these major ports. These ports have no security, no vetting. And everyone thinks that Ghislaine Maxwell was with Epstein romantically. She wasn't. She was with Scott Borgerson. Scott Borgerson was the co-founder and CEO of Cargometrics. Cargometrics was a technology company dominating the shipping industry with tracking and logistics software. Well, isn't that just convenient for Ghislaine Maxwell to be the girlfriend of the CEO of the company that dominates the shipping industry worldwide in tracking and logistics? I wonder if Space Force knew. I wonder if that's why the Suez Canal got stopped by that shipping barge. Military's in full control now, Patriots. Follow the news. Everything is a comm.
And it is going to be a big-time pivotal day for Mark Zuckerberg. The Meta CEO will testify in a trial on social media addiction.
And look closely what Mark Zuckerberg is testifying about. Is social media addictive? Look at Q Post 777. MK Ultra was a success and it was implemented. It's just now called something different. It's not called MK Ultra. Was social media, Facebook, developed by the CIA? Is it a form of MK Ultra? Look at what Q Post 777 says. Look at the phones. They were using MK Ultra through the new phones, through the blue light, through the pixels. It was just called something different. Is that why we have Q phones now, quantum phones? Is that why Trump tweeted about Covfefe? Is Covfefe in the new Q phones? Is that what saved us from the MK Ultra that they were doing? Military's in full control now, patriots. Follow the news. Everything is a comm.
And the social media and
I think that was, yeah. Sorry about that, you guys. That's about, it was just about over.
Let's talk about the storm that's happening. Let's talk about the storm that's happening. Let's talk about the storm in DC. When this storm started happening, the pipe in Epstein Island by that shipping barge. Military's in full control now, patriots. Follow the news. Everything is a comm.
And it is going to be a big-time pivotal day for Mark Zuckerberg. The Meta CEO will testify in a trial on social media addiction.
And look closely what Mark Zuckerberg is testifying about. Is social media addictive? Look at Q Post 777. MK Ultra was a success and it was implemented. It's just now called something different. It's not called MK Ultra. Was social media, Facebook, developed by the CIA? Is it a form of MK Ultra? Look at what Q Post 777 says. Look at the phones. They were using MK Ultra through the new phones, through the blue light, through the pixels. It was just called something different. Is that why we have Q phones now, quantum phones? Is that why Trump tweeted about Covfefe? Is Covfefe in the new Q phones? Is that what saved us from the MK Ultra that they were doing? Military's in full control now, patriots. Follow the news. Everything is a comm.
And the social media and addiction on trial. Mark Zuckerberg will take the stand.
Minute left.
Trump is deploying FEMA to respond to the massive sewage spill in the Potomac River, but the government shutdown is hindering the agency's response.
Here comes the pain. Oh, it's boom time, bakers. Shit's about to hit the fan.
That was a good one, huh, Flying Eagle? All right, the last one will be the lady from this YouTube, the funny one there. I'm going to come back at 7, you guys, tonight.
friend who is paying $150 for rent, and her payment processing fee is $25.
What do you
So
want
$8 is pretty good. It's pretty good. And that question definitely arises. Well, if I'm paying $9.50 for rent and $25 to pay online, why not just charge me $9.75 for rent? Well, to the average person, $9.75 sounds a lot more expensive than $9.50, doesn't it? $9.50 is still somewhere between $900 and $1,000. But when you say $9.75, it's closer to $1,000. That might turn some people off, right? But here's the kicker. Oh, just don't pay online. Pay by check, pay with cash. Don't pay online then if you don't want to pay the fee. Guess what a lot of landlords are doing now? They don't give you the option. They want that online payment. You don't even have the option. You have to just pay your rent the way they tell you that you need to pay the rent, and you're forced to pay the fee. It is what it is. I like to call this one the what the fuck are you gonna do about it fee.
Yeah, usually I don't look at my gas bill. I just pay it because most of the stuff come electronically. I just pay it. But it was a little high this month. So I said, let me look at my bill, you know. You see, compared to the months, okay, December is high. Yes, you know, the heat or whatever. But y'all, what's a customer service fee? Like, why am I paying a $10 customer service fee? Like, what am I paying them to do? Because what customer service is they providing for me? Like, I feel like all these bills and everything is a scam because what's the customer service fee for? You already got to pay a base fee. They had to like the gas on, whatever.
Yeah, she's not wrong. $10 customer service fee. If you have your bills automatically being paid every month through an automated system, what customer service are you getting? You would think that if you had your bills automatically deducted every single month, that would waive a customer service fee. Because if you're not having to have someone process your payment or manually do whatever they need to do because the bill is automatically getting deducted from your checking account every single month, to me, that sounds more like a perk to doing the automated payments. Is, hey, we have this $10 customer service fee and we'll waive it if you set up your automatic payments. Back in the day, they used to do that kind of stuff. Am I crazy? Is this like a Mandela effect kind of thing? I remember being incentivized to set up automatic payments to avoid fees like this, but she's got it regardless. And that brings up another point too. A lot of utility companies or companies that really do want you to do the automatic payments specifically do it because they know that you're not going to look at your bill. If your bill goes up a few dollars here and there, you're likely to not even notice unless you're really, really pinching those pennies. And even then, if you notice a few dollar increase, you might just simply think to yourself, oh, the price must have just gone up. Or if it's a service like gas or electricity or water, those are not going to be the same every single month. So you might not realize that they're tacking on fees and it's not just your utility usage. So this is your friendly reminder to make sure you're looking at your bills every month for these little bullshit fees.
So let's discuss a minute my gas bill. There's a delivery charge, a rate adjustment charge, a DOT safety surcharge, a regulatory expense charge, a basic service charge, and an applicable revenue taxes charge. Then there is, of course, your monthly gas cost. So if you look over, it's the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, fourth one down. 1, 2, 3, 4. My actual gas cost is only $34.09. And my bill is $123.68. Can anyone explain why we are being taken advantage of in such a way that it makes it almost impossible to pay our bills? My bill is $34 and I'm being charged $124. That's insane.
Lots of people are dealing with this kind of stuff every single day. And what's sad but true is they do it because they can. Because they can. What are we going to do about it? They have fees for conducting a service. Yes, the actual gas that she used was only $34, but there are service charges in order for her to have access to that gas, and she's required to pay it. And she can't dispute it. Nobody can dispute these fees because they're for utilities. They can just basically put whatever they want in there, and what can we do about it? What can we do about it except for be aware? And if we see a fee that looks a little out of the ordinary, we can ask questions and push back.
There's so many conversations about how being poor is expensive. And one of those things that kind of has been scarred in my history is disconnection and reconnection fees. Didn't have any services cut this past summer, but came really damn close. What had me really in a panic, not so much having the services cut off, was that I would have to pay extra to have them reconnected. This is a punishment. If you go to talk to anybody about, well, my cable was disconnected, now I have to pay a reconnection fee. My electric was disconnected, or my water, or whatever, and I have to pay a reconnection fee. Everybody just takes that as a given. Oh, well, that's your punishment for being late with your payment. But it's an unnecessary fee. It's not like they're paying a service person to come out for that reconnection, especially when it comes to my electricity. That's a flip of a switch. And the service guy that would have to come out to reconnect my water is already on the clock. The cable guy, already on the clock. Now, cable, well, actually, we can still argue that cable is a necessary service at this point. And the times that I've been in that situation, because I didn't make the payment, not because, oops, I was a dingbat and I forgot. It was because I couldn't.
That's another fee that people don't think about if they pay their bills or if they forget to pay their bills. I have admittedly forgotten to pay my water bill before. For some reason, the only bill that I've ever struggled with is the water bill, and it's because the city in which I live didn't make it easy to pay it online. You had to take a voided check down there. You had to hand fill out a freaking online payment application. You had to take it down to the city office. It was a real pain in my ass, so I didn't do it. I refused to do it because I didn't want to do it, and I forgot to pay the bill. And yeah, they had to, come out and disconnect. And then when I realized that, we had no water, I had to pay them to come back out and switch it on. See, I never really viewed it as like a punishment fee for forgetting to pay your bill. I always viewed it as they're having to take the time to send somebody out. Yes, they're already on the clock, but they already have things that they're doing, and now they have to go out of their way to come by your house, manually turn it on. They had to send somebody out to manually turn it off. So rather than it being like a punishment fee, kind of like she mentioned, I just kind of view it as they're having to pay someone for the inconvenience of shutting it off or turning it back on. And from the business side of thing, I can kind of understand that, because think about it. If you have a city of 20,000 people and 1 month, 5,000 people forget to pay their bill, and they do it because they know that in the same day it can get turned off and then just simply turned back on for free, what incentive do they have to pay their bills on time? Aside from the fact they might go a few hours without water. But then you have 5,000 people that the city is scrambling to go reconnect. I mean, I can understand it. Do I think it's right? No. But I can see why they do that nonetheless. Now, something like your cable, they just kind of like cut off service. I don't think anybody's got to come out for that. I don't know. Let me know if you know. But reconnect fees for services where they don't have to actually send somebody out, those are some bullshit fees.
Have y'all noticed that you get like discounts for your subscriptions if you do like paperless billing? And I've learned that that's not because it's so much they want your money so you don't forget to pay. I think it's because they want to charge you, and so you forget or don't realize what you're really paying for. How many of you have actually looked at your cell phone bill and looked at the hidden fees and charges that those companies are adding to your bill every month? Well, I broke mine down, and I have 7 different fees that I'm paying that I had no idea about, and I'm going to include a picture right here.
This is King George's Do's and Don'ts Hoppers Edition. Do work together.
But because I don't have that much time, I'm going to talk about the fee, and then I copy and pasted the description right from the AT&T website to tell you what each fee is about and then how much it costs me. The first fee is the administrative fee, and this is a monthly fee charged to help AT&T recover a portion of the certain expenses. Yeah, that sounds to me like what my $30 a month per line is going to already, and that costs me $1.99 per line. The next fee I'm going to talk about is the regulatory cost recovery charge, a monthly fee charged to help AT&T recover payments of certain government fees. The fees the government put on you guys, not to put on us. You are supposed to pay for those, not the consumer. Also in that, I highlighted it, is enhanced 911. Okay, and that cost me $1.50 per line. Next fee I'm going to talk about is Homeland Security Safety Fee, and this is a fee charged to help pay for emergency services and 911 support. That's the second time I'm paying for 911 support. The next fee I want to talk about is the West Virginia State Police Public Safety Fee. And, that's just like it sounds. Fee charged to support funding of public safety and emergency services such as 911 system. Another one. The last fee I want to talk about is the West Virginia Wireless E911 fee. This is the E911 fees originate from state and local jurisdiction to pay for enhanced 911 services. And that fee is $3.51 a line. So with me having 5 lines, I'm paying $17.55 a month for that fee alone. So the only time I'm going to be needing 911 is when I call and report AT&T for theft. If you took the time and looked at my screenshot, you could see that I'm paying $7.86 per line per month. So I'm paying $39.30 each month for these stupid hidden fees and charges, which comes out to like $407 a year. So yeah, go look at your bill.
Yeah, and the point that he made at the beginning of his video was the idea that they really do push you to like sign up for the e-statements rather than getting the paper bill, because if you have an e-statement delivered to your email, how many people are actually going to open it up and look at it? Versus if you get something delivered to your house, you can open it up and actually see what all of these fees are. But then again, what are you going to do about it? But what are you going to do about a fee?
I just want to get on here. Who got an email from their bank, if you bank at Wells Fargo? They're changing the limits now. So you used to be able to have a minimum daily balance of 500. Like, check your email because you probably just got one, because I just did, and it is ridiculous. They're changing it from $500 minimum daily balance to avoid a fee to $1,500. I'm sorry. Do you not understand we're in like the 2025 economy?
This actually happened to me not too long ago with Chase Bank. I noticed a $15 service fee. I usually don't have service fees at all in any of my accounts. I specifically do that because why am I going to be paying my bank extra money every month to hold my money that they are already making money on, right? In case you didn't know, banks and any sort of payment processor that holds funds makes money every single day off of the funds that they are holding. The bank is making money off of my bank. So why in the hell would I pay them an extra service fee every month to hold my money? So I specifically get accounts and I learn of all of the loopholes that I need to be concerned with in the fine print in order to avoid those fees. I did not realize that this Chase Bank account that I had required at least $500 in direct deposits in that account every single month to avoid that fee. I thought that it was just a minimum balance, which I was maintaining. Nope, they changed it. They completely changed it and charged me a $15 fee. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk my happy ass over to Chase and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, close that account, amigo. I ain't paying you $15 a month. Are you crazy? $15 a month. $15 a month to hold money in a personal checking account. They gotta be crazy. But what banks will do is they will move the goalpost and just send you a letter in the mail or an email to be like, hey, just so you know, now you have this new threshold in order to avoid a fee. And most people don't even realize it. So what happens? Thousands of people end up getting hit with a fee that they didn't expect. And if you don't fight it, the bank has made a significant amount of money. Think about the $15 service fee that I didn't realize that I had. Imagine if just 1,000 people in one day get hit with that fee. That's $15,000 that the bank just made. And even if 800 of those people decide to go close their accounts after that, or they start, doing the new threshold to avoid that fee, they've still paid the fee. The bank already made the money. You'd have to cause a pretty big stink in order to get the bank to reverse that fee. In my opinion, it is a very, very quick money grab for a bank, and it's pretty nasty.
It's crazy how they charge us for everything. Even when you pay on time, you're being charged. It's like they charge you a service fee if you use your debit card to pay. They charge you a fee if you have them pull it straight out of your account. If you set up automatic pay, it takes them 3 days to take the payment out. Why am I setting up auto pay if y'all aren't pulling it out the day that I have scheduled on there? It's like, I don't understand. And then
what you do today changes what you need tonight. Maybe you're getting into something.
When you cut something off, they charge you for that shit too. I had one of those mobile hotspots through Verizon, and yeah, I didn't need it anymore because I was using it while I was in barber school because I was using my laptop a lot and it was stuff that I needed to look up. And I was, I had a manic episode going on, so I was researching something that I want to get into. And yeah, so, I don't need it now. So when I called to cancel it, they were like, okay, blah, blah, blah. But we're charging you $56. And I'm like, how you charging me for getting rid of something? This is why I don't have no phone with y'all now. And don't get me wrong, I don't think any of the cell phone companies are better. I think they're all fucking trash. But yeah, they charge you to get rid of shit, but be talking about, we hate to see you go. No, you don't. You're charging me for getting rid of y'all. So it's just, I don't understand that you have to pay interest on stuff. You got to pay late fees, service fees, transaction fees.
Yep.
You have to pay in order to pay a bill.
Yep.
Make that shit make sense. What was a catch-22 of adulthood that I never seen coming? That they're charging you to charge you.
Yep.
What? And then if you set up auto pay, they take it out when they want to take it out. Why do y'all bug me about auto pay if you're not even taking it out on the day that I scheduled in your system? What the fuck you mean it could take up to 3 days? Why? When it ought to be that day. Because as soon as I don't pay on time, however many number of days y'all take, before y'all charge me the late fee, y'all charge that late fee on time. I hate all these companies. I hate all of them. And then y'all be having these people, oh yeah, we're so glad to have service and blah, blah, blah. And we appreciate your business. Y'all appreciate ripping folks off. If y'all worded shit the way y'all actually done it, it would be one thing, But y'all don't. Everything is wool over your eyes. You can sit on the phone for an hour with these fucking people and you still don't understand how any of it works because they're doing the exact opposite of what the fuck they telling you.
So it's really just that you ask them questions and they just give you the canned responses that they're supposed to. Most of the time, the people that work for these businesses don't even understand the fees themselves. They're just supposed to collect it. And that is exactly why nobody trusts their bills anymore. It's never just rent. It's the rent plus the fee to pay the rent. So if you've ever looked at a bill and wondered why you're being charged to press a button, you're not alone.
Okay, that was a good one from her today. Hey, Finding, I'm going to play Savannah Mom Update. I can't remember if I played this one or not. It's 12 minutes, and that will put us at 3 hours. So let me know on this one. Oh, not that one yet. Dang it. I got to find it now. Where did I put it? Okay. I can't remember if I played this one.
This is a missing persons case from a quiet street in Columbus, Ohio. But to those of us who have spent decades in the halls of the Department of Justice, this looks like something far more sinister. It looks like a strategic, targeted removal of a federal witness in the middle of a $32 billion national security crisis. Let's be precise. We aren't just talking about money. We are talking about the rule of law. We are talking about the fundamental promise that if you see a crime and you report it to the authorities, the system will protect you. If that promise is broken, the entire justice system collapses. Nancy Guthrie was 84 years old, an age where most are enjoying retirement.
She's listening today.
Nancy was a pharmaceutical compliance officer at MedSource Logistics. This wasn't a mom and pop shop. It was a $470 million revenue engine in the Midwest. Nancy's job was to be the internal police. She checked the billing codes. She made sure the medicine reached the hospice centers and nursing homes. In March 2025, Nancy's forensic analysis triggered an internal red flag. She noticed that 3 specific nursing facilities in Southern Ohio were ordering narcotics, oxycodone and fentanyl, at levels that defied logic. In the world of federal prosecution, we look for deviations from the norm. This wasn't just a deviation, it was an explosion. Nancy did exactly what the law requires. She took her findings to her supervisor. And this, for any prosecutor, is the point of origin for the conspiracy. When her supervisor dismissed these as clerical errors and ordered her to process the payments, the company crossed the line from negligence to criminal intent. They had been put on notice that fraud was occurring, and they chose to accelerate it. By June 2025, Nancy's shadow investigation revealed a network of 17 facilities across Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. The scheme was sophisticated. It used mirror billing, invoices that matched purchase orders, delivery confirmations with forged signatures, and electronic health records that looked perfect on the surface. But Nancy found the physical gaps. She noticed delivery trucks arriving at 3 a.m. She found signatures for doctors who had been dead or retired for months. She was documenting a $2 million fraud in her immediate circle. But as we now know, she was just scratching the surface of a $32 billion national epidemic. To understand why someone would want to silence an 84-year-old woman, you have to understand the incentive structure. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government, in a rush to save lives, loosened the verification requirements for Medicare and Medicaid. The motto was speed over paperwork. But as any prosecutor will tell you, when you remove the locks from the vault, the thieves don't leave just because the emergency is over. By 2026, those temporary, relaxed rules became a permanent gateway for organized crime. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services reported that in the 2025 fiscal year, improper payments reached $86 billion. Let's break down that $32 billion in intentional fraud. That is more than the yearly budget of the FBI, the DEA, and the ATF combined. It is a sum of money so large it has its own, quote, gravity. It buys politicians, it buys silence, and apparently in Columbus, Ohio, it buys a professional disappearance. Medicare's Hospital Insurance Trust Fund is set to run out by 2031. We are only 5 years away from a total system failure. Every dollar Nancy documented being stolen by MedSource Logistics was a dollar taken from a grandmother who needs a hip replacement or a child who needs life-saving medication. This is the human victimology that white-collar criminals want us to forget. The forensic timeline of February 10th. Now let's perform a digital autopsy of the night Nancy vanished. This is where the case moves from financial fraud to a criminal enterprise investigation. On February 10th at 11:18 p.m., Nancy's cell phone pings a tower near her home for the last time. At 11:38 p.m., she receives a text message from a disposable burner phone. This phone was activated 3 hours prior and deactivated immediately after. This is tradecraft. This is not the behavior of a random kidnapper. It is the behavior of someone who understands how to evade federal digital forensics. At 11:47 p.m., the surveillance camera catches the figure. Look at the movement. It's low profile. They avoid the direct light. At 11:49 p.m., Nancy is on her laptop, uploading her final evidence to the DOJ's secure portal. Think about the bravery of that moment. She knows she is being watched, but she is hitting send on the truth. At 11:51 p.m., exactly 2 minutes later, her Wi-Fi connection is severed. In my years at the DOJ, I've seen thousands of coincidences, but a Wi-Fi death signal 2 minutes after a grand jury witness uploads a smoking gun document, that is an act of interference. When investigators entered her home, they found the hard drive missing. The drawer was pried open. No struggle, no other theft. This was a surgical extraction. The corporate flight, signs of guilt. Let's look at the consciousness of guilt. On February 7th, just 3 days before Nancy disappeared, MedSource Logistics listed its $31 million headquarters for sale. On February 5th, 2 board members resigned. In a RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations investigation, we call this winding down the enterprise. They are liquidating assets to move them to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, accounts Nancy had already identified in her spreadsheets. They are scrubbing the deck before the federal search warrants are executed. The grand jury in the Southern District of Ohio has now pivoted. They aren't just looking at healthcare fraud. They are looking at 18 U.S. Code, Section 1512, witness tampering. If Nancy was removed to prevent her testimony, the sentencing guidelines for the executives at MedSource Logistics just jumped from 5 years to life in prison. But here is the prosecutorial reality check. Without Nancy, the case is in jeopardy. Defense attorneys will use the confrontation clause of the Sixth Amendment. They will argue they have a right to cross-examine the accuser. They will try to throw out the shadow files she kept. This is why witnesses in these cases are so vulnerable, because the system's own rules can be used to reward the very people who silence them. Why is this happening? Because the risk-reward calculation is broken. In 2024, the government only recovered $4.2 billion out of $86 billion lost. That is a 5% recovery rate. If you are a criminal, those are great odds. You have a 95% chance of keeping your stolen billions. Congressional committees have held 17 hearings. They talk about AI monitoring and real-time verification, but talk is cheap. They've increased funding by only $300 million, a drop in the bucket. The lobbying groups for healthcare providers fight every new regulation, calling it burdensome. But you know what is burdensome? Being an 84-year-old woman who has to act as a one-person FBI because the federal systems are too slow to catch a $32 billion theft. The logical conclusion and the verdict. So what is the definitive news? Based on the forensic evidence, the person of interest in the video is almost certainly a professional contractor hired to secure the missing hard drive. The text message at 10:38 p.m. was likely a distraction or a lure. The disappearance of Nancy Guthrie is a direct result of her cooperation with the DOJ's criminal division. My analysis as a former prosecutor is this. The DOJ is currently facing a critical integrity failure. If they cannot find Nancy, or if they cannot prosecute MedSource without her, it will mark the end of effective healthcare oversight in the United States. It will signal to every criminal enterprise that witnesses are fair game. We must demand more than tips and hotlines. We must demand the takedown of the shell companies in Nevada and Delaware that Nancy mapped out. We must follow the $8 million that flowed through Meridian Health Solutions. The truth isn't just out there. It was in Nancy's hands on February 10th. She did her part. She gave us the map. Now the question is, does the Department of Justice have the spine to follow it to the end? We are in February 2026. The clock is ticking on Medicare, and it is ticking on Nancy Guthrie. The system is on trial than in the case of Nancy Guthrie.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was good or bad. I wanted to play it, and I can't remember if we ever played that one. It just came out yesterday. So, yep. So, okay, I'm glad to get you're listening there. All right. We'll take a few hour break, and we'll start at 7 tonight. My game's on at 9, so I'll be up late. So, thanks. Carol had a meeting to go to this afternoon. Thanks thanks for helping, coming in, and yeah, I'll be back at 7. Okay, Lucy. That lady only, she didn't really come out yet today, so hopefully she'll be out later. So have a good dinner tonight. Rest up for a night show for tonight. God bless everybody. Love all. Love and please like. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith. And the sign says, never give up. Signing off, Chico and Dude, for another show, another day. And see you on the field.